So what's your training regimen like? I mean, do you train four raw eggs and...
Yeah, no, I don't do anything of that. Stride gun.
Chronicles of the Nerds here. We got Brandon and Dan and Cole behind the camera. We are here with Steve Wiebe, who is competing for the Donkey Kong Championship and the Donkey Kong Jr. Championship, made famous for the documentary King of Kong, which if you haven't seen it, you definitely need to.
Yeah, I'd have to say that last year, that very easily, the King of Kong Fistful of Quarters is my favorite documentary. Like when that came out, I was like, oh wow, documentary about video games, that's so cool.
You gotta watch that.
Oh yeah, I thought it was fun.
What's that done for you? I mean, like, has that
opened a lot of doors?
It's been a pretty successful documentary.
Yeah. I haven't seen any money from it, but I don't care about that.
I mean, like, are people? I mean, obviously, we contacted you because we found out about you through that documentary, but it is probably one of the most inspirational documentaries I kind of have ever seen. You know, like.
Well, that's thanks.
No, it's just like one of those kind of stories where it's just like most people after you broke a record. And it didn't even seem like you ever even had your heart set on breaking the record, but you did.
I didn't even know there was a big stink about breaking the record.
And then when they said, "Oh no, it doesn't count," and you're just like, "Well, then I'm going to make it count." You know, like
sure, yeah.
It's like the Rocky of video games, and Billy Mitchell's like the Ivan Drago, like the character that no one really cares about, but he's
except with an American flag tag.
We just know that he's the bad guy.
It's just cool to see that whole underground thing that no one knew about, that big video game competition to get the record in the Twin Galaxies and all that.
Well, at Fun Spot, that's the first time I encountered all the people.
I remember at one point you came home and they were in your garage inspecting your stuff.
Yeah, it was just like if you were, there was two, Brian Koo and there was Perry Rogers. So I just drove up. Imagine if you were just standing in here and you guys were playing my game and I just pulled up in my car. It's like, what's going on?
Did they break your garage door open or anything when they popped it open, or?
No, they didn't break that. Yeah, that was the big controversy. I mean, when they used the word break-in, it wasn't like they physically broke in.
Yeah,
it was
trying
more
to kick the door
in. Figure of speech that my mother-in-law was here and they kind of my wife told them to wait, and then they came up a couple times, and eventually my mother-in-law let them in.
Unaware that.
Just unaware.
And they didn't even like notify you that they were going to be coming?
They did not. I guess they tried calling or something right the day of, like the morning of, and.
Hey, we just traveled all this way to show up at your doorstep. Are you home?
But I never talked to him. I was a big surprise. But I had nothing to hide. But apparently there was that box with Roy Schultz's name on it. So you're a big Green Lantern fan? Is it?
I'm Green Lantern.
Because Jeff Johns was the person that contacted me, like one of the first.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. It's just kind of like out of the blue?
He saw the documentary and said, yeah, I love what you did. And I read about action heroes, and he sent me a bunch of comic books and stuff. Well, I was down at the ballroom. You know where that
Crystal Ballroom?
Yeah,
Crystal Ballroom, yes.
I played for My Chemical Romance.
Oh, really?
I had a little drum solo there.
Oh, wow.
They invited me down, and then I guess Gerard Way has a comic.
Yeah, the Umbrella Academy.
Yeah, it got picked up for a movie, didn't it?
Oh, did you pick that for a movie too? It doesn't surprise me. It's been really successful. You're training to break Donkey Kong Jr. right now.
Yeah.
And you're still trying to do Donkey Kong as well.
Yeah, I figured Donkey Kong is more of a summer project because it's going to take a lot more time. The Junior's easier, and the requirements for videotaping aren't as stringent.
So what's your training regimen like? I mean, you train four raw eggs and...
Yeah, no, I don't do anything of that. Stride gum. I got a bunch of
yeah, jeez.
Did you do a commercial for them, or?
No, they just, when I went down to E for All, Stride just offered, like, if I were to break it, they'd give me like 10,000 in quarters. And then
that's just an inconvenience.
Then a lifetime supply of gum, or maybe I think it was a year supply, but they gave me like a lifetime supply.
And then the awards on the wall behind.
In Seattle, there was a Northwest Pinball show that a bunch of people came to. Walter was there, and we all got the Hall of Fame plaque. So if you anyone with a record, we'll get one of those. And they're trying to get a museum in Ottumwa, Iowa, where Walter started his arcade, Twin Galaxies.
Wow.
And they're trying to get that to be like the Hall of Fame.
Well, yeah, one of the things that they talk about in the documentary, obviously you're a teacher,
Yeah.
You gotta have some cool cred that comes from that. Have you become like a nerd, like the nerd teacher, the teacher that like all the nerds like want to hang out with, and
The kids think it's cool, even if they're in 9th grade, they still don't think it's geeky. They still like it. And then I get email from various people through, I've got a website up and people can contact me there.
Did so you've seen that episode of Bones based around the Donkey Kong controversy?
What'd you think of that?
Yeah.
That's funny, I thought.
Because no one was murdered in the True Life story.
Yeah, I was the bad guy in that. I cheated and I was murdered. And
Yeah.
it's kind of fun. But at the end they said no. Any
similarities
is only a coincidence.